Hey, this is Camry. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm here in my bedroom and I am going to be folding all of this laundry here. Hold on, let me close this door. It's pretty loud. I have my dishwasher and dryer going in the background. It was super loud. So I have all this laundry to fold and I have zero motivation to fold it. So what's the best way to get motivation for me? Make a video. So I thought I would make a video and just tell you a little story, like a Laundrochat kind of thing. So what I'm going to be telling you is the story of my twins' birth. They were born early, so if you would like to hear that story and get a little motivation to fold some laundry at the same time, stick around. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Alright, so my story starts back in 2013 when I was about 27 and a half weeks pregnant with my twins. They were boy-girl twins, so fraternal twins. And the pregnancy was rough from the start. At about 10 weeks, I found out I was pregnant, and I had an ultrasound and found out it was twins. And so that was a shock from the beginning. And then at about 12 weeks, I started having a placental bleed. And that was coming from Evelyn's placenta. And Evelyn was baby A and Damien was baby B. And so Evelyn was at the bottom and she was, they saw her that she was breech. And Damien, he was obviously at the top and he was in there ready to come out how he was supposed to. But anyways, with the bleed that I had, they put me on bed rest, but I was actually finishing my last semester of college at that time. And so I had a hard choice to make at that point, where did I want to quit college and go on full bed rest like they wanted me to, and then lose out on my degree, and then still maybe lose the babies? Or did I want to just try and push through and finish my college just in case? So what I did is I explained my situation to my mentor teacher, and she said, well, the choice is yours. But what she did is I actually chose to go on and finish my semester out. It wasn't that many weeks left. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3. And so she actually helped me so much. I taught sitting down, and the only walking I ever did was to the classroom and back to my van. That was it. She had the teacher's assistants taking the kids to specials and taking them to lunch, all of those things that I was supposed to be doing, but she helped me out big time because, I mean, I had been doing it for about 5, almost 6 weeks at that point, so she knew I had it down, but she also didn't want me to fail and not get my degree. So so she helped me out so much, and I appreciate her so much for that. And then so I ended up finishing my degree, and then the doctors told me strict bed rest after that. So after I graduated and everything, I went and I stayed home and I stayed in bed. But the bleed continued, and then finally it stopped around probably 26 weeks. And so they told me, you know what, if you feel comfortable and everything, then you can do light movement. They didn't even take me off of like full restriction. So I was still kind of on restriction, and then I decided, well, you know what, it won't hurt to like go to my grandma's. You know, it was probably about 25 miles away. It wasn't a big travel to go there and everything. And so on Labor Day of 2013, I took my kids down to my grandma's, and we were having dinner, and I gotta take care of that. Okay, so we were down at my grandma's house, and we were all just sitting around a table and having dinner and laughing. We always crack up so much when we go there. So we were sitting there and we were making jokes and laughing so hard. So at one point I was like cracking up so hard, and and then I thought I peed myself, and come to find out, no, Evelyn's water had broke. So I get on the phone calling the hospital because we were in Seymour, and I was registered down here in Columbus Hospital. So what we ended up doing was my dad, he rushed me to Columbus. He was going through stoplights. He didn't care if they were red, anything. He was scared, and he got my butt to Columbus fast. So yeah, he rushed me here, and my Aunt Terry, she was behind us in my van. She brought my van to Columbus, and oh man, they were lifesavers. Anyways, so they got me here, and then Columbus Hospital, they said that because I was only 26 and a half weeks, there was nothing that they could do for the babies here because they don't have the machines and everything to take care of babies that are born before 34 weeks. So they were trying to figure out whether they were going to take me to Riley or St. Vincent. And so they ended up taking me to St. Vincent Women's Hospital. And I love that hospital. We still go there. Like when Evelyn has her appointments and stuff, we find the doctor at St. Vincent because I love that hospital. I became more close to those doctors in like the 7-8 days that I was there than I did the doctors down here that I saw for like 3-4 months before the babies were born here in Columbus. Yeah, so I love that hospital. And so they rushed me there by ambulance. They were saying that they were going to get me a helicopter, but I was not in active labor, so they said the ambulance would be fine. But this ambulance went there, full lights on, all the way there and everything, rushing, because those guys were scared that they were going to have to deliver a baby. Well, babies, because it was twins. So, so yeah, I didn't know that you could get to St. Vincent Women's Hospital so fast, because that place is up by 86th Street. That's far away. So yeah, we got there really fast, and they put me in a high risk unit, and so they gave me steroids for the babies and all kinds of stuff, and then they gave me other stuff to like stop labor and everything, and so I was there. That was Monday when I went. It was Labor Day and Monday. And then I was there until Friday. And Friday is when the babies were born, on the 6th. And early that morning, I was talking to my husband on the phone, and I was telling him, I said, I feel like I'm having contractions, and they were getting bad enough where I was like grabbing the side of the bed. And I called the nurse, and so I kept texting my husband while I was talking to her, telling him what was going on. And she kept telling me that she wasn't picking up anything on the monitor because they had all those like belly monitors on me. And so she wasn't picking it up. So she was like, oh, well, maybe it's just pains where you have to go to the bathroom because you've been in bed so long. And I was like, well, okay. And so I tried to go to the bathroom, and I was in there, and something started coming out of where it shouldn't have been coming out. And if you remember, my daughter was breech, and she was baby A, so she was on bottom. So I kind of leaned to the side to hold her in, and I'm pushing the button like crazy because something's coming out, and it is not where it's supposed to be coming out of. And so the nurses rush in, and one of the nurses, she was like, oh, it's a head. And the other nurse is like, no, that baby is breech. That is not a head. That's her bottom. And so my daughter was coming out folded up like a taco. So you can just imagine, like, her feet were up to her head, and she was coming out bottom first. And so they like are holding her in and trying to get me back to the bed. And the doctor rushes in. I don't even know where she came from, but she rushed in there. And so they deliver her right there in my high-risk room. And they rushed her away, and then they took me on down to the operation room where I was supposed to have my babies in the first place. And just in case, like, I needed an emergency C-section or something to get Damien out. But they rushed me down there, and I am in shock because they just like took my baby away, and I have no clue what's going on. And so the nurse afterwards, she told me that I was like laughing, and that just shows you like how much shock I was in at that point. And no one was with me. My husband, he was here, he was at work, but at that point he was rushing there because they had already called him. And my mom was rushing there too because she was taking care of my other kids. And but yeah, everyone's rushing there, but I'm all by myself there. And so I'm down in the OR, and then they bring in this group of like 10, maybe 20 medical students, and they ask me if I mind if they watch because they've never seen a twin birth. And I guess I said it was okay, but I don't even remember that. But I just remember like coming kind of out of the shock once Damien was born, and all these people standing around me. But what happened when Damien was born? So he was coming out with his hand on his head like this. So with no epidural or anything, these doctors had to shove him back up inside of me and move his arm so that he could come out the correct way. And so, but like, I don't remember the pain of that or anything. I don't. But I just was in shock. And it was funny because my daughter, she was born 2.5 pounds, and then my son, he was born a little over 3. And so they were both very, very small. And oh my gosh. So my son, he ended up scoring like an 8. I think it is the highest score possible on the newborn screening, which is funny. But since he was so early, because they came at 28 weeks. Like, I was 28 weeks when I had them. and so, gosh, but anyways, so, my daughter, she scored like a 3. She was very behind, and I mean, how could you expect her to score that much when she came out folded up like a taco? And also, I did not find out until I requested her medical records. Well, I got both of their medical records from St. Vincent, and I requested those, and I saw on there that my daughter, she was born unresponsive. And I still get emotional about that, because she could have not been here, you know. And but she's just the perfect little girl now, and yeah, she's had her problems, and we found out many things about her. So my son, he's had no problems since birth, except like they both stayed in NICU for 2 months, and they got to come home at the same time, which I was very grateful of, because I read so many stories of like girls not being able to take home their twins at the same time. One comes home before the other one. And I feel like that would just be stressful, because then you have one baby at home and you're trying to see the other one in the hospital too. And oh, I'm just so glad that they came home at the same time. But yeah, that was a long haul. They kept having bradycardias, like they would stop breathing while they were sleeping. Their heart rate would drop, and just like, oh, it was so hard. And one time it was like they had been in the hospital for like a month, and they were doing so well. They were both doing steady breathing while they were sleeping. Their heart rate didn't drop. And then one night at the same time, right before we were supposed to bring them home the next day, they both stopped breathing and they both had heart rate drops the same night. And so neither one of them got to come home that time, but and that happened like 2 more times before we actually got to bring them home. So it was crazy, but the nurses there were so awesome, and that staff is just great at St. Vincent. I can't recommend them enough. They're just so awesome. That hospital is great. He's supposed to be in bed, and he keeps getting up because his brothers are out there. So yeah, they kept dropping their heart rate and everything at the same time, and not being able to come home. But but then on November 2nd of 2013, they both got to come home the same day. And actually, I'll insert their coming home picture now. And oh man, yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, they were still very new. That was even before their due date when they came home. So they were still very little, but I think Damien was up to like 6 pounds, and Evelyn was up to like almost 5. But they let her come home because she was, we got her the car seat that was for like preemie safe. So yeah, they let her come on home too, and I was so glad. But yeah, so it's been crazy from the beginning with those two. Oh yeah, and I was going to tell you about what we found out about her. Like Damien, he has, like I said, he scored the highest he could on the newborn test and everything, newborn screening, and she scored really low. And so all through these years, we've been trying to figure out like why. And she was born with a hole in her heart. So it was called an ASD, an atrial septic defect. Atrial septic defect. I was thinking I said that backwards. But she was born with that. And that was not able to be fixed until she was 3. They wanted her to be a certain weight, and they wanted her to kind of, I don't know. They just said 3. I really don't know. But so the problem with that is she had crumbling teeth too. And so as soon as her baby teeth started coming in, they just crumbled right out of her mouth. They and we had it scheduled that we were going to get her some caps put on, and she was probably around 1.5, almost 2 when we scheduled that. And then they checked with her cardiologist, and he said that she couldn't have any dental surgery until after her heart was fixed, because she was at high risk for infection. So, so by the time she got her heart fixed, she didn't have many teeth left. They just crumbled right out of her mouth. And we didn't really understand why. Like, well, we thought that maybe it was because Damien was stealing the nutrients from her. Like, I think it's called twin-to-twin transfusion or something like that during pregnancy. And we thought it was that. That was our theory. And then come to find out, well, first of all, then she got in all these like physical therapy, speech therapy, all that stuff to try to help her, because not only were her teeth crumbling, but she couldn't talk at all, and her core strength and her leg strength, everything was very, very delayed. So yeah, she was in physical therapy until she was 3, and actually she even got some of it in early childhood program that she went to when she was 3 too. She went on to school, and when she was doing her speech therapy, the speech therapist found out that she may have had a disorder of her throat. And come to find out, she had a submucous cleft palate, which is a cleft palate in the throat. And what it is the muscle tissue did not hook together. So she had like a short shot of muscle back there in her throat that helps you talk. So she was physically unable to talk. And so this was all after her heart surgery. So we got cleared to get her reconstructive surgery, and that was at St. Vincent. All her surgeries have been at St. Vincent. And so she had open heart surgery when she was 3 in 2016. Well, it was right before she turned 3. And then, because it was June of 2013. Oh my gosh, I'm getting my dates all spewed together. Okay, so June of 2016, she had open heart surgery up at St. Vincent. And so, I mean, like, she's got a scar right down her chest because it was open heart. And they fixed her heart, but I mean, she still has a murmur, and she's still catching up on growth and everything, and she's still delayed. So, she's in the special ed program at school because she's still delayed on things. But and then in the following January, she finally got in for her dental surgery, and at that point, she pretty much lost all her teeth. She didn't have any front ones. Like, she still doesn't. She has 2 down here now. These 2 have come in, so she's got those, but the top one, she still doesn't have any top front teeth. And the back molars are capped with silver caps. So those are the only teeth, that they could save by the time they did the dental surgery. And I was surprised that they could save the molars because they were really bad too. They were just crumbling badly. And so yeah, she got that done, and now we're just waiting for her teeth to grow back. And then in March right after her dental surgery, March of 2017, she got her cleft palate repaired, and that was at St. Vincent too. And so they went in and they connected those muscle tissue in the back, and then she started intensive speech therapy to get her learning all of those letter sounds and everything that she physically could not make with that condition that she had. So then she finally started talking where people could understand her when she was 4. And then, oh goodness. So since then, she's doing much better. But since then, we have found out that what caused all of these issues that she's had and defects that she's had was she had a chromosome deletion. And that chromosome deletion, the disorder is called DeGeorge syndrome. And so that's what it caused the hole in her heart, her submucous cleft palate. It caused her delays in her muscles, and all of her problems came down to that chromosome deletion. And so at least we have an answer to why now, instead of just thinking that her brother was stealing everything from her. But I mean, there's nothing they can do about it. She's going to have that all her life. And unfortunately, like, if she ever wants to have children, then she will need to have her and her husband tested. Well, I mean, obviously she has it, but she'll need to have her husband tested to see if he is a carrier of that deletion. Because if he's a carrier of that deletion, then their children could be very, very deformed. So yeah, that's her little story. And I just want to say, I'm about done with this. So I just wanted to say, if you guys have any questions or you want to comment down below, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you stayed till the end of the story, you are so close to my heart, because I know that this video is going to be super long. But I did want to share this story with you guys. And I know I've been kind of all over the place with it, because I just wanted to make sure that I touched all of the history and what all happened. So, but yeah, if you stayed till the end, you are such a sweetheart. And I want to thank you so much. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. So you don't miss anything that I post, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.